Alright, so I came across this story the other day that legitimately gave me the chills. It's one of those things where you think there is no way this actually happened, but every single word of it is documented. Imagine you're trekking in the Himalayas. It's 2003. You're way up there, where the air is so thin you can practically hear your own heartbeat. You're crossing this massive glacier, the Dhaka Glacier, and because it's been a weirdly hot summer, the ice is starting to melt. You look down and you see something dark sticking out of the white ice. You think it's a piece of trash or maybe an old piece of wood. You walk over to kick it and you realize it's a human hand. But here's the kicker, the skin is perfectly preserved. The uniform is still intact. And when the army finally gets to take this man out, they find he's been missing for 35 years. He's been standing still in that ice while the entire world changed. And in his pocket, the letter. A letter to his mom that he never got to mail. Today, I want to tell you the story of the 1968 IAF flight that literally vanished into thin air, and the mountain that decided to hold on to 102 souls for decades. So let's set the scene. It's February 7th, 1968. It's a Wednesday. At the Chandigarh air base, things are pretty routine. There's this massive Soviet-made plane, an Antonov AN-12. If you've ever seen one, they look like big, grey metal birds with 4 massive propellers. On board are 98 soldiers and 4 crew members. Now, these guys aren't going to a war zone. They just finished their winter leave. They're probably showing each other photos of their kids or complaining about having to go back to the freezing cold in Leh. It's supposed to be a 1-hour flight. Super simple, right? They take off at 10:30 a.m. Everything is fine. But as they get closer to the Rohtang Pass, things start to get weird. Now, if you don't know, Rohtang literally translates to pile of corpses. That should tell you everything you need to know about this place. The weather there doesn't just change, it attacks. Suddenly, the pilot, Flight Lieutenant Pandey, realizes he's flying into a total whiteout. Imagine being in a car during a blizzard, but you're going 400 miles per hour and you're surrounded by granite peaks that are 20,000 feet high. Pandey decides, nope, not today, and he radios back saying he's turning around. And that was it. 11:03 a.m. That was the last time anyone ever heard from Flight 508. The plane was supposed to be back on the radar in minutes, but the clock kept ticking. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. The Air Force went into full-blown panic mode. They sent up everything they had. They flew over the Rohtang Pass for days. And guys, they found nothing. No smoke, no twisted metal, no bodies. It was as if someone had just reached down from the sky and plucked the plane right off the map. Can you imagine being the family members waiting at the airbase? You're waiting for your son or your husband to walk through those gates, and the officers are just looking at you with no answers. For 35 years, these families lived in this weird, painful limbo. Some people thought they'd been hijacked to Pakistan. Some thought it was aliens. I mean, when you have zero evidence, your mind goes to pretty dark places. Fast forward to 2003. Think about how much the world changed between 1968 and 2003. We went to the moon. We got the internet. We had whole wars. And all that time, this plane was sitting under a glacier. When the trekker found the body of Sepoy Belly Ram, it sparked Operation Abyss. The Indian Army sent a specialized team up there, and what they found was straight out of a movie. Because of the way the ice works, it doesn't just freeze you, it preserves you. They found Belly Ram, and he looked like he had just fallen asleep. He was 35 years late to a destination he never reached. But the most heartbreaking part, like I mentioned earlier, the letter. He had spent his whole leave writing to his mother, telling her he'd be home again soon. He was carrying it in his pocket, probably planning to mail it as soon as he landed in Leh. He never got the chance. But 35 years later, the army made sure his family finally got it. Now you're probably wondering, how does a massive plane just disappear for that long? Investigators think the pilot got disoriented by the whiteout. He probably thought he had cleared the mountains and started his descent, but he actually was flying straight into the side of a glacier. Because he hit at such a shallow angle, the plane didn't explode into a fireball. It basically pancaked into the ice and was immediately buried by a massive avalanche. It was a perfect, tragic tomb. The crazy thing is, even after 2003, the mountain hasn't given everyone back. They've only found 9 bodies out of 102. 9. That means there are still over 90 men up there, somewhere under the ice, still waiting to come home. And get this, every few years, the glacier melts a little more, and a piece of an engine or a boot will show up. It's like the mountain is slowly, painfully telling the story, one piece at a time. It's a heavy story, I know, but there's something about it that stays with you. It's a reminder that even with all our technology, the earth still has places where we are totally powerless. But there's one more mystery I found while researching this one. In 2019, they found more wreckage, but it didn't match the AN-12. It belonged to an expedition that was never officially recorded. Who are those people and what were they doing on that glacier? If you want me to dig into that mystery, let me know in the comments. I'm really curious to see what you guys think about this one. Was it just a tragic accident, or is there something about the Rohtang Pass that we still don't understand? Thank you so much for hanging out and listening. For more intriguing stories like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. Take care.